Hello, this is Mr. Sullivan, and I'm here to do the lessons for Wednesday, the 13th through Friday, the 15th of May. Hola, soy señor Sullivan, estoy aquí para hacer las clases para miércoles 13 de mayo hasta viernes 15 de mayo. Ahora vamos, now we're going to go ahead and start with the lessons as laid out by the district. Ahora vamos a empezar con lecciones como puesto como por el distrito. Okay, we're going to begin with the lesson for Wednesday, May 13th. And we're looking, as you can see, the activity is I can use formal geometric vocabulary to describe two-dimensional figures based on the presence or absence of angles of a certain size. And it reviews the terminology. Acute angle, an angle that is less than 90 degrees. Entonces, puede usar vocabulario geométrico para escribir figuras de dos dimensiones basado en la presencia o ausencia de ángulos de cierto tamaño. ¿Ok? Primer término, ángulo agudo, un ángulo que mide menos que un ángulo recto, que quiere decir menos de 90 grados. Acute angle, an angle that is less than a right angle, which is, say, less than 90 degrees. A right angle, an angle that forms a square corner, exactly 90 degrees. Un ángulo recto, ok, es un ángulo que forma una esquina cuadrada que es exactamente 90 grados. And then obtuse angle, an angle that measures greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees. And so un ángulo obtuso, que es un ángulo que mide más que 90 grados pero menos que 180. Okay, and it gives us this activity. Cut the shapes provided and sort and classify them by angles in the table below. And another sheet that is provided is this one. All right, and the instructions are to cut out these shapes and then classify it, use them to classify it. So what I did is I just went ahead and did these, trace these again with a marker so that they would be a little more visible. And then we'll go through and put them on the chart. So on the chart we have, entonces ya esas son las figuras que nos dieron, que nomás tomé una marcadora para hacerlo más grueso para que puedan verlo mejor. Okay. Entonces, it says, cut the shapes provided, sort and classify by the angles in the table below. So, vamos a cortar las figuras, okay, y clasificarlos por los ángulos. Entonces, we have right angles only, que solo tiene ángulos rectos. Acute angles only, que solo tiene ángulos agudos. Obtuse angles only, solo tiene ángulos obtusos. O both acute and obtuse angles, que quiere decir que tiene ambos agudo y obtuso. Okay, and so we'll take each one that they've given us here in terms of the thing. First figure they gave us was this one, which is an acute triangle. So this has only acute angles. So that would go there. Right. The next one they give us is this one, which is an obtuse triangle because it has two acute angles and one obtuse angle. Now, so it's not only obtuse angles, it would fall into this category, both acute and obtuse angles. So remember, a triangle always has at least two acute angles. It's the third angle that names the triangle. If it's an acute, then it's an acute triangle. If it's obtuse, it's an obtuse triangle. And if it's right, it's a right triangle. Okay, the next figure we have is this one. Okay, this one here, which is a trapezoid, right? As you can see, it has, we're looking at this, it has two obtuse angles and two acute angles. So that would fall into this category. The next one we have is another triangle, but this time it is also an acute triangle because all three angles in the triangle are acute. They're all less than 90 degrees. So that would go here. Next one we have is this one, which is a trapezoid again. Now this one we see that we have two right angles. We have an obtuse angle and an acute angle. So we can't put it into right angles only because it has other types of angles. It doesn't only have acute, and it doesn't only have obtuse. It has both. So that one would go here. Next one we have is this one. Now this one is a right triangle. So it has a right angle here, and then two acute angles. So it really doesn't fit in either one of these categories. It would kind of be halfway between these two because It has right angle and acute angle, but it doesn't. So none of these actually apply to that one, right? Then the next one we have is this one, which is a parallelogram. Now, a parallelogram that's not a rectangle, it does not have all right angles, right? Has two obtuse angles and two acute angles. So that would fall under this category here. And then finally, we have a rhombus, which is a parallelogram with 4 equal sides. And once again, since it does not have right angles, which would make it a square, it has two obtuse angles and two acute angles. So that would also put it in this category. They do a very good job of mixing them up, but that's what they decided to do. Now, then we come 2 figures are shown below. So we have a pentagon and we have a square. Which statement about these figures is true? They all have right angles. Well, the square is all right angles, but there are no right angles in the pentagon. So that one doesn't work. They all have at least one acute angle. Well, no, this is all obtuse angles, and this is all right angles, so that one's not right. They all appear to have at least one pair of congruent angles. All right, now, here, all these, it says this is a triangle, excuse me, a square. All of these are congruent angles. So we have at least one, we have more than one pair of congruent angles. We actually have 4 pairs of congruent angles. Here, it looks like these angles are all the same too, so you would have a number of pairs of congruent angles. So that would appear to be our answer. And let's do the last one. They all at least one obtuse angle. Well, the pentagon is all obtuse angles, but there are no obtuse angles in the square. So our answer here would be C. So that would be the lesson for Wednesday, the 13th. Okay, now we're going to move forward for the lesson for Thursday, May 14th. Again, the activity is I can use formal geometric vocabulary to classify 2-dimensional figures based on the presence or absence of parallel or perpendicular lines. Entonces, ya estamos con jueves, el 14 de mayo, y la actividad es, puede usar vocabulario geométrico formal para clasificar figuras de 2 dimensiones basado en la presencia o ausencia de líneas paralelas o perpendiculares. Okay, so again, reviewing the vocabulary. Parallel lines, lines that are always the same distance apart and will never intersect. Okay, líneas paralelas con líneas que siempre están a la misma distancia, okay, y jamás intersectan. Perpendicular lines, a special type of intersecting lines wherein a right angle is formed. Líneas perpendiculares, okay, es un tipo especial de líneas intersecantes donde se forma un ángulo recto. Okay, right angle, an angle that forms a square corner exactly 90 degrees. Es el ángulo recto, un ángulo que forma una esquina cuadrada que mide exactamente 90 grados. Okay, activity. Mark an X for each attribute that describes the figure shown. Make sure to identify the name of each figure using correct geometric terminology. Entonces, marque un X para cada atributo que describe la figura mostrada. Okay. Ten cuidado para identificar el nombre de cada figura utilizando terminología geométrica correcta. Okay, so we're looking at reference. We have parallel lines, we have intersecting lines, we have perpendicular lines. So we have 3 different examples. Perpendicular lines create a right angle. Parallel lines never intersect. Intersecting lines cross each other. Entonces ya tenemos los términos. Okay, líneas paralelas que jamás intersecten. Okay, líneas intersecantes y líneas perpendiculares que forman un ángulo recto. Okay, vamos. Okay, here we have a trapezoid. Okay, ya tenemos un trapecio. Okay, one pair of parallel sides. Yes, we have un par de lados paralelos. Okay, I said 2 pairs of parallel sides. 2 pares de lados paralelos. No, okay, eso no funciona. 4 sides, 4 lados, perdón. Yes, it is a quadrilateral. Ya es un cuadrilátero, ya tiene 4 lados. Okay, perpendicular lines, líneas perpendiculares, no. 4 right angles, pues tiene 4 ángulos, it's 4 angles, but none of them are right angles. Es decir, cuatro ángulos rectos, es que no tenemos ningún ángulo recto. Opposite sides angles are congruent. No, because porque tenemos the opposite angles are not congruent, they're not the same. Entonces dice que lados y ángulos opuestos son congruentes. No, porque no son diferentes. Okay, ahora vamos. Now we're going to, and it doesn't give you a place to name these, so I'm going to put them over here. This is a trapezoid. All right. The next one here is a rhombus. All right. Ya es un rombo. Okay. It says one pair of parallel sides, un par de lados paralelos. No, tienen dos pares. Entonces that would go here. And so we would go here, two pairs of parallel sides would apply to the rhombus. Dos pares de lados paralelos. All right. Four sides, yes, it's un cuadrado. Cuatro lados, sí es un cuadrado. Líneas perpendiculares, no tiene ninguna líneas perpendiculares. Four right angles, no tiene ningún ángulo recto. Okay, here, opposite sides and angles are congruent. It said lados opuestos y ángulos opuestos son congruentes. Sí. Here you have these two angles are congruent, these two angles are congruent. Each pair of parallel lines are also congruent. Next we have a square, un cuadrado. Okay, yeah, cuadrado. Is it un par de líneas paralelas? So one pair of parallel sides? No. It has two pairs of parallel sides. Okay, dos pares de lados paralelos. Tiene cuatro lados? Sí. Okay, does it have four sides? Yes, it's a quadrilateral. Does it have perpendicular lines? Líneas perpendiculares? Sí, definitivamente. Okay, four right angles? Yes, definitely. Cuatro ángulos rectos. Lados opuestos, lados y ángulos opuestos congruentes? Definitely. So you have opposite sides and angles congruent? Yes. All the angles are congruent, all the sides are congruent. So yes, we have that. Todos los lados son congruentes, todos los ángulos son congruentes. All right, so here we have a triangle. Actually, this looks like an equilateral triangle, which would also be an acute triangle. Entonces, aquí tenemos un triángulo que parece ser un triángulo equilateral y también que también es un triángulo agudo. Okay, one pair of parallel sides. No parallel sides. So neither one of these applies. Four sides. No, because it only has three sides. Perpendicular lines. No, all the angles are acute angles, so there are no right angles. Four right angles. No. Opposite angles congruent. No. So we're done. Okay, so that's all of the options that they give us here. Okay, now let's go to the next. Okay, the next one. Okay, which figure of the table above has exactly two pairs of parallel lines? Okay, ¿qué figura de arriba tiene exactamente dos pares de líneas paralelas? Well, we've got, that would be these two, is the rhombus and the square. Entonces, tenemos rhombus and square. ¿Qué quiere decir? Que ¿qué figuras tienen exactamente dos pares de líneas paralelas? Es el rombo y el cuadrado. Okay, como tenemos sacado aquí. Yolanda sorted polygons into groups. The polygons below belong in the same group. Yolanda ya organizó los polígonos en grupos. Los polígonos mostrados pertenecen en el mismo grupo, que quiere decir tienen características en común. When they say they're in the same group, that means they have common characteristics. Okay, which description best represents this group? ¿Qué descripción mejor representa este grupo? Okay, so we're looking for things that they all have in common. Estamos buscando algo, características que todos tienen en común. Okay, A, polygons with parallel side pairs. Polígonos con lados paralelos, pares de lados paralelos. Well, here we have an octagon, all right, and it does have pairs of parallel sides. Aquí es un octágono que sí tiene pares de líneas paralelas. Aquí tenemos un septágono, okay. This is a septagon, all right, which has 7 sides, and none of them are parallel. Entonces, ninguno son paralelos. Aquí tenemos, here we have a hexagon, es un hexágono, okay, que tiene 3 pares de líneas paralelas, pero tiene que aplicar a todos. Entonces, this one does not work. So we'll cross this one off. Okay, eso no funciona. Polígonos con solo líneas paralelas. Well, okay, it's a polygon with only parallel sides. right? Well, this one has only parallel sides. This one doesn't have any parallel sides. This one has all parallel sides. So that doesn't work because it has to be common for all three of them. Este no, tiene todas líneas paralelas, eso no tiene ninguna líneas paralelas y eso tiene pares de líneas paralelas. Entonces, pero tiene que aplicar, la característica tiene que aplicar a todos los tres. Ok, polygons with only acute angles, polígonos que solo tienen ángulos agudos. Pues viendo esto, ninguno tiene ángulo agudo. Ok, entonces eso no funciona. Ok, entonces none of them have acute angles, so that doesn't apply. Polygons with only obtuse angles, polígonos con solo ángulos obtusos. Pues, okay, looking at this one, this is all obtuse angles, they're all more than 90 degrees. This is all obtuse angles, they're more than 90 degrees. This is all obtuse angles, more than 90 degrees. So that would be our answer. Entonces, cada figura aquí tiene solo ángulos obtusos. Entonces, la respuesta es D. And that is the lesson for Thursday. Okay, now we'll continue with the lesson for Friday, May 15th. The activity is, I can use essential attributes to classify two-dimensional figures based on the presence or absence of lines or angles. Entonces, vamos a hacer la lección para el viernes, el 15 de mayo. La actividad es, puede usar atributos esenciales para clasificar figuras de dos dimensiones basado en la presencia o ausencia de líneas y o ángulos. Right. Again, we're looking at our basic vocabulary. Okay, so we have two-dimensional figures, a figure with only two dimensions, i.e. length and width. Okay, figura de dos dimensiones, okay, una figura que solo tiene dos dimensiones, que sería longitud y amplitud. Okay, rectangle, a parallelogram with four congruent right angles. It said rectángulo es un paralelogramo con cuatro ángulos rectos y congruentes. Okay, rhombus, a parallelogram with four congruent sides. Rombo, un paralelogramo con cuatro lados congruentes. Square, a parallelogram that is a rhombus and a rectangle. A parallelogram with four congruent sides and four congruent angles. Es un cuadrado, es un paralelogramo, es un rombo y también un rectángulo. Es un paralelogramo con cuatro lados congruentes y con cuatro ángulos congruentes. Trapezoid, a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. Trapezoid, okay, trapecio, un cuadrilátero con exactamente un par de líneas paralelas. Okay, parallelogram, a quadrilateral with the opposite sides congruent and parallel and opposite angles congruent. Paralelogramo, un cuadrilátero con lados opuestos congruentes y paralelos y ángulos opuestos congruentes. Okay, look at the geometric riddle for a rhombus below based on its essential attributes. Okay, here's a rhombus. Vea a la pregunta geométrica por un rombo basado en sus atributos esenciales. Okay, rhombus. I have four angles, two acute angles, two obtuse angles, four congruent sides. Entonces ya tengo una figura con cuatro ángulos, dos ángulos agudos, dos ángulos obtusos y cuatro lados congruentes. Okay, think about the solution. Piensa de la solución. I know that the figure has four angles. I know the figure has two acute angles and two obtuse angles. I know that it has two pairs of parallel sides. I know that all four sides are congruent. This figure is a rhombus. Entonces, pensando en la solución, ya sé que la figura tiene cuatro ángulos. Ya sé que la figura tiene dos ángulos agudos y dos ángulos obtusos. Ya sé que la figura tiene dos pares de líneas paralelas. Okay. Entonces, ya sé que todos los lados son congruentes. Esta figura es un rombo. Okay, continuing. Using the two-dimensional figures below, write clues on an index card that describes the figure using the figure's essential attributes. Now, I don't have index cards here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on a piece of paper as we go. All right, I'm going to slide this up a little bit, and then we'll just write the essential attributes down. So, what we have here is, let me get a little bit better. Okay, now, okay, the first figure we have is a square. And what can we say about a square? All right, it has four sides, tiene un cuadrado, tiene cuatro lados, right? It has four angles, cuatro ángulos. right? It has 4 right angles. Tiene 4 ángulos rectos. Okay, tiene is 4 congruent sides. Tiene 4 lados congruentes. Okay. What size is it? Okay, and so that describes a square. Okay, now we have a rectangle. Oh, I forgot a couple things. We can also add, it has 2 sets of parallel lines. Tienen 2 pares de líneas paralelas. Okay, angle sides, right angles, good sides. Okay, good. All right, rectangle. Okay, we have, it has 4 sides, 4 lados, rectángulo. Okay, 4 angles, 4 ángulos. Okay, 4 right angles, tiene 4 ángulos rectos. Okay, it has 2 pairs of congruent sides. Tiene 2 pares de lados congruentes. Es decir, estos dos, este es un par, este es un par. Okay, también es 2 pairs of parallel lines. También tiene 2 pares de líneas paralelas. Right, here we have a trapezoid, trapecio. Okay, esto, trapezoid. Okay, it has 4 sides, tiene 4 lados. It has 4 angles. All right. In this case, right, we have tiene 4 ángulos. Tenemos dos. We have 2 acute angles and 2 obtuse angles. Okay, tiene 2 ángulos agudos y 2 ángulos obtusos. In esta figura, in this figure. Okay, you have to remember that a trapezoid can also have it can have 2 right angles on it. So we're not describing all trapezoids, we're just describing this trapezoid. Es que hay que recordar que un trapecio también puede tener 2 ángulos rectos. Entonces estamos describiendo, no estamos describiendo todos los trapecios, sino este trapecio. It has 1 pair of parallel sides. Tiene un par de líneas paralelas. Okay. We may or may not have 1 pair of congruent sides. Dependiendo, podemos tener un par de líneas congruentes, pero no estamos seguros. Okay. But these are your characteristics. Estas son las características de esas figuras. Okay, problema de práctica. Practice problem. Mary says the figure below has 2 sets of parallel lines and 2 acute angles. Do you agree or disagree with it? Explain your reasoning. What is the name of the figure shown below? Now, Mari dice que la figura abajo tiene 2 pares de líneas paralelas y 2 ángulos agudos. ¿Está de acuerdo o no está de acuerdo? Explica su pensamiento. ¿Qué es el nombre de la figura abajo? Okay. Looking at this, what we have is we have 1 obtuse angle, we have 1 acute angle, and we have 2 right angles. So she is not. So we have to say we disagree. Okay, esta figura tiene un ángulo obtuso, un ángulo agudo y 2 ángulos rectos. Entonces no estamos de acuerdo que dice ella. All right. And so what is the name of the figure? This is a right trapezoid. Eso es un trapecio recto porque tiene 2 ángulos rectos. Right? And that completes the lesson for Friday, May 15th.